You'd mentioned, new versus old spaces, new builds versus a retrofit. Just wondering if you could touch on some of your experiences of what the challenges are of convincing, a data center or a telecom or a critical facility space owner to see that effective containment is actually a critical performance mechanism, right? Not just secondary, that it's actually critical at multiple levels of your operation.
Yeah, so all right, I'm going to step way out on a limb here and answer in a way that most people might not expect me to answer. But if you've got a data center operator who is not convinced to use containment, your time and energy is better spent on pursuing other data center operators than to try and bring value to those other operators that see the value. My experience is if someone doesn't see the value in containment, it's difficult to convince them. And
Yeah.
so we at Polargy often, we learn the hard way. We would waste so much time and energy. Doesn't matter how many ROI studies you show somebody, if in their mind, they've got some reasons they're resistant. They don't want to go back up the food chain to justify the investment. They don't understand ROI analysis, so they're uncomfortable. They may believe in the concept, but they just don't know how to articulate it to the executive team. So we at Polargy, if we get jammed into that situation, we often gracefully exit and wait for a new manager to get assigned. And I know so because
No.
otherwise it's the same stuff you've already done, right? It's ROI analysis, it's CFD models, right? But there are just some cases where it's frankly many cases where if the data center manager doesn't believe it, you're just better served to move on to another data center.
One of the first containments that we did, we ran into exactly that. Fortunately, we had an energy manager who really wanted to move ahead with, because that was his job. His job was to reduce energy. And he was convinced of taking this step. The people on the facility side did not want to do it. They poo-pooed the idea. It's not going to work. We looked at it before. It doesn't work. Well, fortunately, we were able to move ahead and we did the installation. And lo and behold, the facilities managers, the operations people afterwards thought it was fantastic, because part of the process, we reduced the number of operating cooling units from 5 down to 4, which meant that now when they wanted to do maintenance on one of their cooling units, they had a backup cooling unit to do that, and they didn't have to bring in temporary cooling and things like that. So it was a struggle, but once they saw it in operation, they were really very pleased with it. But yeah, I could see if we hadn't had as strong an energy manager within the organization as we had, we probably wouldn't have been able to move ahead with that project.